Good evening. Welcome to the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. My name is Martha Diaz, and I'm a little nervous. I am the resident scholar here at the Schomburg and the director of the Hip Hop Education Center at NYU. Thank you all for joining us and the audience tuning in via live stream through our NYPL YouTube channel. If you're tweeting, please use the hashtag Schomburg. Yes, Fresh Bowl So Deaf, Women in Hip Hop. We're here, we made it. This is presented by the Schomburg's Hip Hop 4.0 initiative that was started last year here. I want to take this time to thank our partners, our program partners, the New York Public Library for the Performing Arts, for including us in their Rhapsodic City Music series of New York, and the Breaking the Silence, Passing the Mic to Our Daughters project. I also want to especially thank Betsy Perlmutter, Jonathan Heim, Nora Lyons, James Murdoch, and Jacqueline Davis at LPA. I want to also thank my colleagues here at the Schomburg for their undeniable support, beginning with Dr. Muhammad, who started this whole Hip Hop 4.0 initiative, Clarice Sharif, Lady Sasha, Stephen Fullwood, Stephen taking care of the technical. Deidre Holman, Joelle Diaz, and Kara Olige, Danica, and the entire Schomburg staff and volunteers. I want to thank my co-organizers, Autumn Marie, Autumn Robinson, and Justine Owano. Thank you for helping me pull this together. I also want to thank our wonderful, amazing speakers and artists that are participating in the program. Beverly Bond, Brittany Cooper, Rockefeller, Ebony Smith, Genesis B, Piper Carter, FM Supreme, Noela Cabral, and Shaniqua Golding. A program of this endeavor, this scale, would not be possible without everyone that I just mentioned. You're in for a treat. Fresh Bowl So Deaf was started in 2008. With Dr. Irma McLaurin and Dr. Rachel Ramis. It was started as a feminist intervention strategy to highlight women in hip-hop who were not getting the recognition and props for their contributions. For far too long, women in hip-hop have been living under the shadow and big egos of the hip-hop male. The limited stereotypical images in the media and the entertainment industry, coupled with minute opportunities to promote alternative women roles within hip-hop, has increased misogyny, violence, and disrespect. We need to see alternative images that showcase the diversity of women in hip-hop. We need journalists to sound the alarm and put the spotlight on the remarkable achievements of these women. Contrary to the influential televised lies that crush self-esteem, powerful, self-respecting women in hip-hop exist. They're on the microphone, off camera, and behind the scenes, holding weighty positions in education, community building organizations, and are at the top of the industry professional food chain. Yet, many remain silently tucked away as shining, anonymous stars. By promoting the women that are building schools, producing their own music tracks, and starting their own companies or running for public office, we're balancing things out. This is what Fresh, Bold, and So Deaf is all about. Today, we're launching 2 surveys focusing on the roles, images, and treatment of women in hip-hop. This year-long research project will pose questions to teenagers and women about the portrayal of women in media, sexual harassment, career opportunities, and gender and race discrimination. The goal is to release a report in 2014 with the findings of the survey. So when you get a chance, if you haven't done it already, take the survey. They're in the lobby. They're also online at the Fresh, Bold, and So Deaf website. Now, without further ado, let's get this party started right. To get things pumping, here we have our first performer coming all the way from the Windy City. Chicago, where you at? FM Supreme. Is it? Yeah. FM Supreme is an international performing poet, hip-hop artist, MC, activist, and motivational speaker. She's the founder of the Chicago International Youth Peace Movement and the force behind the Commonwealth Music Group. Please give a warm welcome to FM Supreme.
Hello, how you guys doing? Harlem, what up? It's my first time performing in Harlem. It's kind of cool. Coming, well, yeah. Crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than info. Baby mama's crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than info. Baby mama's crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Never brought the llama, swear I never brought the crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than info. Baby mama's crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than info. Baby mama's through ink, I am a monster. Sham like we grabbers, smoke them like we rosters. Of course we show stoppers. Commonwealth on, that's my object. I rep that non-profit success, that's my logic. Blast human rocket, no force cannot stop this. Similar to toxic, some say a virus. I'm not Miley Cyrus. You're touched by the Midas. They bland that I'm the brightest. Built my own plane, AJ Wright. I'm the pilot. My roses are violet. Retinas are red. I don't mess with the feds cause they here for Hampton dead. They not eating they head while they press in co-red. Preem at the entrance. My haters looking mad. On the real, it's all good. Soon up in your hood, a female night like Suge. Man, I wish these chickens would. Crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than info. Baby mama's crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than. By the time this verse is through, they gon' want a picture proof. Who's the windiest in the city making moves? FM Supreme, nothing less than the truth. Used to try to tell dudes that basic gumbo real food, but they pass on that meal. I move and they steal, plotting a billion ways to get a record deal. They want to sell sex appeal, want to sell how I feel. I spit what's real, forget how they feel. They call me crazy mama, plant seeds like a farmer. They so Michelle Obama, this Fatima, Peter Parker. Real talk, that's my nephew. The world, God bless you. They Clark, my mother, MPG, and no other. I love Dub like a brother. Trump type for life. Shat-town on ice. Was born to rock the mic. Forget the lamplight. I just want my money right. Every day I'm hustling. Please believe the hype. Crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Never brought the llama, swear I. Crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than. Crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Never brought the llama, swear I never. Crazy mama brought the drama, but I never brought the llama. Got more issues than folk baby mamas. 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 Yeah. 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 Chicago. No turning back. No selling crack. Yeah.
What's up, people? Hello, hello, hello. Testing 1, 2. What's going on, people? My name is Autumn. I am from the Breaking Silence, passing the mic to our daughters project.
I'm Shaniqua, and I'm also from Breaking the Silence passing the mic to our daughter.
I said breaking the mic, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I did. Breaking the Silence project came about as a result of us hearing a bunch of conversations about how young girls were receiving messages in hip-hop. We were hearing a lot of people talking about, to, and at these young girls, but we didn't really hear the young girls speaking up for themselves. And as a result,
we were just like, we're not about that life. We don't support it. We don't want it. If people are going to make music for us, we have the right to defend ourselves and speak up for it. And we got a group of girls from all 5 boroughs, ages from 12 to 17, super smart, super cute, super intelligent, who shared with us their thoughts and feelings about how hip-hop impacts them.
So the truth of the matter is, without our young women, the culture has no chance of surviving. So without further ado, this is Breaking Silence, passing the mic to our daughters.
Clap for us, we're excited. Who are some of your favorite hip-hop artists, male or female?
J. Cole, Drake. I like Drake.
You like Drake sometimes?
Nicki.
Oh, Nicki sometimes. So Nicki sometimes. Drake.
A$AP Rocky.
You like A$AP?
Joey Badass.
Even with the cornrows, you still like A$AP?
Yeah.
Okay. Joey. Who else? You like Jay-Z? You guess Drake?
Yeah.
Kanye. You didn't kill Kanye?
I like French Montana.
So do you guys pay attention to the lyrics at all? You said sometimes. You said sometimes, but you always pay attention to the lyrics most of the time. And we're all, I'm not gonna say we're all adults because we're not all adults, but we're all smart enough to know that some of these lyrics aren't necessarily the kindest to women. How does that impact you? How do you feel that you're not your name, you're a bitch, you're a hoe? How does that impact you?
Sometimes the way they address things, they adjust it to like prior relationships or like to girls like the groupies or something. But I don't like consider myself in that category for some fact. I might listen to that music, but I'm not a groupie because I don't go out to their concerts and be like, oh, sign my breasts. No, I don't do none of that. So I wouldn't put myself in that category.
So you're not. So it doesn't impact you, doesn't offend you in any way?
Like, it does sometimes, because I be like, you shouldn't address a female that way, but they do, like, it is what it is, because it's been happening generations, so sometimes at times I just be like, you can't really do too much about it.
If the shoe fits, wear it. If you feel like you're one of like how they describe girls, then that's up to you. But if you don't feel like you're like that, then you shouldn't pay attention to it.
Talking about women in general, not being that specific person. In songs they don't say, oh, this female. It's like just female.
They're not saying like who's specific. They could be talking about your mother, your sister, your cousin, your god sisters. So I feel like, yeah, you should be offended. Like, why not? They might not say somebody's government on the song, who they're talking about. So it could be anybody in general. Like, you shouldn't accept the fact, regardless of if a girl puts herself in that situation, you shouldn't accept the fact of a man calling you a bitch, regardless.
It's like that Queen Latifah video we just watched. You know, I'm punching out of my game. So straight.
She's 12. You're gonna keep it all the way 100. Which one wish they had a big butt? I'm gonna raise both my hands. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 girls that wish they had a bigger butt.
I'll be completely honest. Like, when I was younger, I would look at the females and be like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. I wish I had big boobs and big butt like her. But like, of course, when I got older, I'm like, of course, beauty comes in all forms. But like, how they publicize women, they try to make that the ideal woman, like with a big breast, you need big butt for her, you would get a good looking man, but that's not true. Like, you don't need to even show off that much to get a man, and that's what they show on videos, like girls are half naked.
Also, I think that us women, we have more ways that we could look pretty, like compared to guys. Like, we have the makeup, there's plastic surgery that we could do. So I think that like that puts the expectations even higher for us.
Because we have more options.
Yes, we have more options.
Let's get on the topic of female MCs real quick. Just throw out some female MCs. Give me some names.
Okay. Now that I think about it, Queen Latifah.
Salt and Pepper. Lil Kim. I heard Nicki, Lauryn Hill, Trina, Eve,
Lola Monroe, Diamond.
Lola Monroe. You said Lil Kim. If Nicki weren't cute, you still think Nicki would be?
I don't think she would be as
successful. She'll still be up there, but not as up there as
she
she
wouldn't
is
be as
now.
commercial. If you see her documentary on MTV, she works very hard for what she has, regardless of what anybody has to say about her. Like what anybody has to say about her music, her lyrics, her look. She does work hard. Like she grinds. Like
So there's a work ethic behind the success, is what you're saying.
I think she changed because like she wanted more fans. I don't like that.
She wants to reach to like bigger audiences and like she's trying to fit into like
Everybody
more categories. Like she wants to sing and she wants to be on American Idol and she wants to do all these things, but like kind of miss being like the old Nicki that just like didn't care what like anybody said. She was rap.
By show of hands, how many of y'all know people that pop mollies?
Because a celebrity does it, they can do it, and I guess it's because that's their influence and that's where their inspiration comes from. So because their inspiration is doing it, they feel like, why can't I do it if they're doing it? Nothing's happening for bad to them. Like they're living their life goal, they're doing everything right. Like so, I feel like maybe if they start doing the things that they're doing, maybe they feel like they could probably follow in their footsteps.
Of course, hip hop music, of course, it influences that, but I don't feel like it's just that.
So what else do you think is a contributing factor?
I don't know. It's social media. It's TV. It's everything around us.
I guess they don't have a positive influence. They don't have a good role model to look after. So like they look up to the artist that's saying, yeah, Pop Molly, whatever, and then they do it because he's doing it because that's their role model. So I think they need someone better to look up to.
Hip hop, I feel like I live with hip hop every day. It affects the way I dress, the way like what I eat. Like when I'm walking down the street, it's what I'm thinking about, it's what I'm like singing in my head, what I'm listening to every day.
What do you love about hip hop?
It gives me a chance to get away. I think get away from like everything. Like it just gives me a time to either mellow out or either get myself together and be like, okay, I'm in my own world at that time. Like I don't have to worry about nobody else. Like coming to talk to me, no, I don't have to worry about that. Like at that time, like it's about me. It's about nothing else but me.
Inches from 6'5". If we want too high, we would be too high to be touched and obliged to break rules.
I'm Alana Bilal. I'm 17 years old, and I'm from Bronx. I am hip hop.
I am Cindy Tineo. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school, and I am hip hop.
I'm Sonia Woods. I'm 15.
I'm Sydney, and I'm 18, and we are hip hop.
I'm Dominga, 16, and I'm from Brooklyn.
I'm Amber, I'm 16, I'm from Brooklyn.
And we're hip hop.
My name is Aaliyah Trotman, and I'm 12 years old from Brooklyn.
My name is Kelly, and I'm 12 years old from Brooklyn. We are hip hop.
Oh God.
We are hip hop.
So peace to you, love, forever on top. I show respect, cause what we talk about is hip hop. So peace to you, love, forever on top. I show respect, cause what we talk about is hip hop. My precious ones. I show respect, cause what we talk about is hip hop. I show respect, cause what we talk about is hip hop. I show respect, cause what we talk about is hip hop.
So that was actually a preview to what we're working on. We're shooting in 5 different cities, and we want to get people really excited about what we have going on and develop a serious, supportive community for these young women, because we have to be able to allow them to speak their mind and speak freely about what they have to say about the culture. Want to get some shout-outs? Will all the girls that are here that were in the participants in the Breaking Silence Project please stand up? We also want to give a quick shout out to Shalant, who is the 3rd co-founder of the Breaking Silence Project. So, thank you.
Thank you, Autumn Robinson and Shaniqua Golding. This is a great project that I had to just, support. Thank you for doing that. I can't wait to see the finished product. I have your back. Yes. Okay, so now for our second performer, things are getting warmed up in here. You feeling it? You feeling it? Fresh Bowl So Deaf? Okay, so now for our second performer, originally from Biloxi, Mississippi. She's an hip-hop artist, activist, and a 2011 graduate of the Clive Davis Department of Recorded Music and Political Science at NYU's Tisch School for the Arts. She released her first mixtape at the tender age of 14. She is the founder of Open Sky Artworks and the Strive Till I Rise campaign. Put your hands together for Genesis B.
Yeah. Instead of dwelling in my solitude, I sit back waiting for this perfect opportune. I try to rise to the top like a hot balloon, but situations made my life pause like the Commodore. Hurricane rain baptized me. Every word I spoke like my boat's capsizing. Please throw me your raft or show me the cash. I'm gonna show you how a country girl grow from the past. Yeah, listen, I ain't talking about FEMA. That wood grain grip looking sick in the 2-seater. My boy got hit legit with 2 heaters. Got him for his whip, his chick, and his new Adidas. See, we all got demons, but now I gotta face them. My dream's so close that I could taste them. And though my heart's racing, I gotta take it out of the equation. It's in my destiny to be amazing, yes. See, the media be feeding us images depicting of black living, consisting of pimping and crack dealing and black women degraded by the host of radio shows. I must let us know we just some nappy-headed hoes. Oh, Mr. Rapper, throw a couple dollars, make her shake it, dance hard in front of the camcorder. That's how we raise our daughters, degrade them for the wealth. Wonder why they can't behave themselves, pregnant by the age of 12. Sexism, racism, terrorism. Half our warriors is locked up and they in prison, enslaved by some dumb law, a drug charge, sharing cells with rapists and murderers, pushing dumb bars. But money rules the world and motivates the masses. The gaps between the social classes lead to global clashing. They act like they can grasp it like they slow as molasses. Say, open your eyes and take a look. Some questions need to be answered like, who really runs the nation, governments or corporations? Fake rappers got the youth obsessed with money making. But it ain't our fault, blame it on the labels. Us rappers, we just puppets getting paid under the table. Yep, I said it, I meant it, and don't forget it. If you feeling offended, then for you this was intended. Ray J needs love, so we make a show about it. Lindsay goes to jail and everybody know about it. Brittany goes bald and it's all over the news, while little Iraqi babies getting raped and abused. But bomb drops, teardrops, they fall steady when the child cries. Gun pop, my heart's heavy. Years of aggression and years of oppression has got me wondering if we could find a new direction. And it's hard to remain optimistic. I'm dealing with statistics that's driving me ballistic. I don't know why they focus on being so fly. I dedicate it to the Most High. No lie, only speak truth. I do this for the black boys, do this for the youth. I do it for the young chicks getting their diploma. In school, putting in work like a soldier. See, the pen is the sword, even if you can't afford the ink, just think, put a piece on the board and checkmate, and bet they gonna hate, but learn how to separate the real from the... Thank you.
Thank you, Genesis. Another round of applause. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nuela Cabral, and I'm a filmmaker, educator, and activist, and I'm very, very happy to be here tonight. Thank you for having me. Martha asked me to come up here and introduce my film, and speak, just tell you a few words about it. This film was made, I started making this film as a student film back in 2003 at Tufts University. It was my senior project. And what's fascinating and a little bit disturbing to me is that the issues that we talk about in this film that was made 10 years ago are still so relevant, and that in many ways we're still having the same conversation. The film is called Who's That Girl? Women of Color in Hip Hop. And the reason why it's called Who's That Girl is because when interviewing fellow friends and fellow fans of hip hop, something that would often come up when we were talking about misogyny in hip hop and representations of women of color in hip hop was this idea, well, that's not me. You know, that girl's not me. So if that girl's not me, who is that girl? That was kind of the question that I was trying to, one of the questions I was trying to ask. That film, thanks to Martha Diaz, really took on a whole journey of its own. When I made it, it was to spark dialogue on my campus about, among fans of hip hop, about the messages we were receiving. But what ultimately happened was that it took on a journey of its own all around the country. And one of the reasons why was because Martha Diaz saw the film and she believed in it, and she she sent it to people. I remember hearing it was at one festival here and there. I didn't even know it was. And it went to the Pan-African Film Festival in LA, which is one of the most prestigious black film festivals in the country. And at the time I was about 18 years old, or maybe 20, around 20. And I was doing a Q&A after the film screen, and people in the audience were, one audience member was livid. And there was so much tension in the room after showing this film that I said, I think I might be onto something here. This was before Byron Hurt made his film, which everybody should see, Beyond Beats and Rhymes. So we're gonna watch the film, and we're gonna have a conversation about a lot of the issues and about, women in hip hop here tonight. And I just wanna say that, you might be a little bit depressed in a way after watching this. But know that there are many of us here in this room who are working to change what we see. And I'm really happy to be with all of you. And if anybody's interested in the work that I'm doing now, you can check out Fan Mail, which is a media literacy and activist project formed by women of color in Philadelphia. And we've got some of our girls here tonight. And we're basically trying to critique and create media with social change in mind, not just hip hop, but media in general. And we're trying to talk back to media and really challenge these corporations that are shaping the way we're portrayed. So if you want to get involved, please check us out. It's FAAN, Mail, MAIL, and get involved. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this film. Thanks.
hip hop because it's something that you can move to, and it gives people a lot of energy, like to listen to and to dance to.
Cause it's better than listening to some rock.
Hip hop to me is this incredible medium through which to communicate truth and communicate knowledge and poetry in a very raw and very beautiful way.
We don't see this shit in the hills or music is a language. You can communicate with the people. Like, it's like even without me being present with somebody, they know I'm talking to them because they hear what I'm saying in my music. They can relate to it and feel what I'm saying.
I listen to a lot of songs where the lyrics are pretty disrespectful a lot of times. And it's just, I'm still battling with this myself. It's like, because I have this love for hip hop, but at the same time, I don't like to hear myself represented as a bitch or a hoe or as a gold digger or ready to slash up somebody's car if my man acts up. I mean, I'm just tired of those stereotypical images. But yet, because my love of hip hop, I still listen to it.
I feel like what has happened with hip hop and the lyrics within mainstream hip hop is it's become alienating. And I find myself like hardcore lover of hip hop can go back to the history from, you know, my first album with a parental advisory label on it to present. And I really feel alienated by the whole music scene now. I find myself being forced to consider different genres where I don't feel like I'm degraded. I have not been able to reconcile how to listen to hip hop and to see myself reflected in the lyrics of hip hop in a way that clearly is not mirroring me in any sense.
Wait, chill, shh, quiet. Let me finish telling you what's going on, okay? The way you like to do it, we can fuck to the song. And I'ma beat the pussy up till it's time to get gone.
Shorty, you go ahead and clap that shit with your big ass making me wanna slap that shit.
You know what? Jump in my ride and let's slide. I'ma beat up the putty and cook it with a fish fillet fried.
Yo, Buster's one of the funniest guys.
So what I don't understand is why is what pleasure is really derived from this, because I mean, I wouldn't want to be intimate with someone this way. I mean, that's just me.
God, this really hits home right here. Like, wow. You know? Like, the side of me is really saying, like, damn, do I really play these records? Like, the other side of me has to turn the cheeks because this is what pays the bills. You know, this is what gets the people vibed up in the crowd.
I think there's a lot of disrespect. And I think that they treat us like objects, almost. I do think it's not right, but it's pretty hard to explain why the music is so catchy.
The beat's the one that makes the lyrics hot. So people don't care about the lyrics, they just care about the beat.
Including you?
Yeah.
Sometimes I won't even know the lyrics, and I don't even know what they're saying, but I like the beat. I like what's going on in the song. But when I do realize what they're actually saying, it doesn't stop me from listening to it, so I can't even say...
We'll say we'll hate the song, the lyrics.
Yeah, I hate that song, but it comes on and you still dance to it. So.
Yeah, but the song itself is not bad.
I think now a lot of people don't even listen to what they're hearing. All they do hear is the beat. All they do hear is dun 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 for 3 minutes. That's it.
One of the things that I find so hard is when I'm out somewhere and I'm having a good time and the song comes on, like last weekend I'm out and the song "There's Some Hoes in This House" comes on, and you know, it has a great beat, and the crowd is like super amped, and you know, I want to be dancing along, I want to be enjoying myself, but at the same time, in order for me to do that, I have to completely ignore that voice inside me that's saying, okay, which one of us is the song talking about? Well, it's not talking about me because I'm not a hoe, so it must be talking about her. And at the same time that I want to be dancing and I want to be carefree, and that's what it's supposed to be about when you're out and you're having fun with your, you know, with your crew or whatever, that the music so often forces me to make a choice between being the conscious, intelligent person that I know that I am and having fun. And that shouldn't be an either or.
I think that rappers just say them things because, like, early in their life they've been through stuff, so, like, they want to express their feelings.
As long as females are willing to put themselves out there like that, and niggas are willing to get females to put themselves out there like that, it's not gonna end.
If it's real, how can you be mad at it? If Ludacris, he made a song Hoes. You know what I'm saying? He made this song Hoes. I'm sure a good amount of the women he run into are hoes. So until those women stop putting them, I mean, if the lyrics is real, what are you mad at? If the lyrics is real, what are you mad at?
Hip-hop has an insistence that this is real. This is the way it is. This is the way the streets are. This is the way that you are. If we're only talking about one type of woman, then this is you.
Now I want to hear it, because maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I think you're wrong. I think a lot of people are wrong. I don't think that there's any reason why anyone should talk about females the way they talk about them in general. One guy will rap about this female, oh, she's a hoe, she's this, she's that, and then the next guy falls in the same fucking line. That doesn't mean
real.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that everybody, like, come on, you're basically guys stereotype every female when they come out with a song.
I don't think it's that bad because it's like music and it's not like directing it towards like a certain person or like a certain.
I disagree. Because I think that's like, alright, cool. It is directing it towards a person. They're not directing it towards like men. I understand women.
I don't really take it personally because I'm not the girl they're talking about.
Well, I think it's funny when you see, you know, a song like Ludacris, a song like Use a Hoe, like you just automatically envision the type of girl that isn't you. So you automatically put yourself in a different category. You're like, oh man, I know some hoes, but I'm not a hoe. So, you know, the song's kind of hot. And it's making fun of people that just aren't me.
Well, me personally, I don't refer to a female as a hoe or bitch.
But you did in the song.
I did in the song, but like I was saying, I was just basically being universal with the language. I was just saying, we got that drill, we got that blow, we got them hoes. I didn't say, oh, this female's a hoe, that female's a hoe, that female's a hoe. I just said, we got them hoes. And be real with yourself. A hoe is a hoe, and you know who's hoes.
As you were saying, there are certain girls who are bitches. There are certain girls who are sisters, you know? Example, Jay-Z came up with a song called Sisters and Bitches. Basically was saying, a bitch is a girl who want to check for your homie, right? A sister is a girl who wants to check for you.
What he was saying about, like, the whole, like, differentiating between the two types of women, like, the bottom line is they're all our sisters, though, you know what I mean? So you just can't denigrate one type of, you know, girl because she's doing one thing. I mean, that's the overall problem, I think, that they're all our sisters. You know, some people, you know, doing good things, people doing bad things, but they're all our sisters, and we're still bringing one part of our race and our people down. Anyway, like earlier, we talked about...
You're going to say something derogatory towards somebody, man. People going to say derogatory things towards whether they black, white, European...
What I'm saying, but
Slovakian, it don't matter. It don't matter. If I mean, derogatory words gonna be used, and I don't agree with. I might be getting you wrong, but I don't agree with saying that because they're our sisters, we shouldn't be saying something derogatory. Like I can't say them. You know what I'm saying?
That was like, I haven't heard the song, but the way like he was making it sound like there are sisters, and then there's those other girls who aren't up to par. You know what I mean? Like let's just outcast them because they're doing wrong. I don't think that's right. I mean, granted,
I think the reason why that song even came into existence is because Jay-Z was answering all these questions about like, he's like, oh, you always disrespecting women, or he's always saying like bitch, and he's like, all right, let me just clarify things a little bit.
For someone to sit there and tell me that someone's making a distinction is complete bullshit. Because when I go to the club, nobody's sitting there like, oh, you're not the hoe, she is, but you're not.
When the master called Johnny, nigga, you know, he wasn't talking to Paul either, but it's offensive to every nigga out there, you know what I'm saying?
It's then also saying it's okay for him to talk about these certain women this way, as long as it isn't me. And that's another divisive factor for our community, so.
It's making like younger kids that you wouldn't ever expect to like be saying this like vocabulary. Like the other day, my cousin, he's 10, he had a picture of his girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm a pimp," and I was like, "How old are you?"
I fuck you, I suck you. What am I going to teach my kids? When somebody says, I'm going to do you, come to me, I'll do you right, then she's going to look for something to do her right.
I just can't come out the gate and be like, yo, I'm going to say positive this, or that. Believe me, I tried it. I used to do Christian music. I came up with Christian music. And what happened? It got people going for a minute, but because of the fact that my voice wasn't strong enough, it just fell. But now that I'm doing what I'm doing now, it's for some reason people are hearing me. Why? Because they can relate better to this.
Nobody's saying don't talk about sex. Sex has been talked about in music from time immemorial. Nobody's saying don't talk about women. Again, that's been reflected in all sorts of different types of music. The difference is that I watch a video and you can swipe a credit card through my ass. And that's a little bit different than talking about sex, talking about women. All of a sudden I've been degraded, and I'm so tired of hearing the argument that, well, that woman that got the credit card swiped through her ass cheeks, she got paid for that. I really just feel like we're better than that as a people.
Dope, yo. The women on the music video are really beautiful. Like, I don't know, for a guy watching, I'm just like, wow, did you see that?
And they're all the same, too. Mm-hmm.
Light
no
skin.
variety.
They're all light skinned.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. If you see a dark skinned sis in the video, she's in the back and you don't even see her.
I wonder where the girls like me are. I wonder where the girls like me on TV. I wonder why all the black, you know what I'm saying? Why the black women on TV have curly hair or lighter skin or not exact look. They just don't look like this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where they at? I don't understand. I'm not pretty.
The image that I see is more like, it's like a static image. It's like one that hasn't changed since I was like 10 and watching videos to now when I'm like 21 and watching videos. So these women haven't grown up with me. Some of the artists themselves may have grown and evolved and dipped in and out of the business, but the women in the videos have remained pretty static. They're like these women that stuck in this like static heat, this sexual heat.
It's not even really about the music anymore. It's about making these mini fantasies come alive where men have all of the power and all of the control, and the women and the money and the cars and all of that are essentially just accessories.
As women are objectified, they're not viewed as people. Their humanity is stripped away from them. They're not human anymore, they're things. Okay? It dehumanizes them. And it's a lot easier to break this bottle across the table because the bottle... God. It's a lot easier to do something... Oh my God. It's a lot easier to do something bad to a thing than a person. And if the woman is the thing we're talking about, then it's a lot easier to do something bad to the woman because she's not a person, she's a thing. Thank you.
Besides influencing African American youth, which hip hop was originally catered to, it's influencing other groups of people, and it's giving them some insight into our culture that is somewhat untrue. Yeah. If you were overseas and you were looking at a hip hop video, and hip hop at many times, I just got back from Spain, hip hop is their only insight into African Americans. So if that's the only image of a black woman you see, then that's not the proper image that should be put out there.
There's a certain silence about addressing it. When women of color address hip-hop, it's like another thing to demonize us for. We're talking about an industry, we're talking about a place where black people are making money.
Throughout time, and you can look at this in the civil rights movement, and you can look at this in the black power movement, but there has been this idea that black women, if they separated or if they called out the black men who were doing incredibly sexist and incredibly sexually violent things to their women, then they were thought to be traitors. So we have all these images now, and these images are of black women who don't even have, a lot of times don't even have faces, but they're just showed from behind, or they're just shown close-ups of their breasts or their, their feet or their mouths. So they're objectified to this incredible degree, but, women of color have to remove themselves from that image in order to continue supporting this movement that is so important to the community.
I think that there's a lot of discussion, and it goes on and on and on, but the bad thing about it is that we'll have these discussions in front of BET. Like, we'll be watching BET and being like, see, look, but all the time we're still watching it. We talk and talk and talk, but there's no action behind what we talk about.
We need to be a little more responsible as far as what we're dealing with these corporations and realize what they're doing to us as a people. How something that started off as underground and as an expression of urban culture is now being monopolized and being capitalized as a product.
The records that they put out, it's actually the corporate white America that owns the companies that puts out these records. And the only way that they go and sell these records is if the records are profoundly, profoundly abusive,
They don't want to show anything that reinforces love between you and I. They just want to show things that reinforce the pimp hoe mentality, that black men don't love their black women mentality. These people don't got our best interest at heart. There's no one cure. There's not this Pensier potion that's going to get everything all right. It just doesn't exist. It's not one person's fault. It's all of our fault. It's your fault and it's my fault.
But change takes time. To make change, you have to do like Michael Jackson said, and look at the man in the mirror. Change yourself first.
It certainly is an issue of consumer support and who we choose to support and who we choose not to support. But I also think that there's an obligation in the way that we're raising our children and how we make the connections for them, as far as you have a mother, you have a sister. These are the people that need to be reflected. When you're talking about women, these are the people you should think about as you're, putting our name out in the universe.
Let's have another round of applause for that film. Thank you, Nuala, for making the film, and I think it's a great opening for the panel and also for the launch of this survey to see where we're at 10 years later since that film. At this time, I would like to invite our panelists to the stage, please. My name is Autumn Marie, and I do publicity and marketing in music, film, and entertainment industry. I'm also a community organizer, and I have the blessed honor of working on tonight's event and this longer project of the surveys with Martha and Autumn and Justine. So once again, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm very excited about the conversation and these fabulous women that we've gathered together, some who have traveled from far, from different boroughs and from different parts of the country to be with us tonight, and who are all doing really, really awesome work on women in hip-hop right now. Our first guest is Dr. Brittany Cooper. Dr. Cooper is an assistant professor of women's and gender studies and Africana studies at Rutgers University. She is also co-founder of the Kruk Feminist Collective, a hip-hop generation feminist blogging crew. The Kruk feminist collective blog was named one of the top 25 blogs of 2012 by TheRoot.com. Sitting next to her, we have Beverly Bond. Beverly Bond has blazed trails in music, entertainment, and social entrepreneurship. As most of you know, in 2006, Beverly founded Black Girls Rock, a youth empowerment. And there are some of the mentees from Black Girls Rock sitting in the second row. In 2006, she founded Black Girls Rock, a youth empowerment mentoring organization. Beverly simultaneously created the annual Black Girls Rock Awards. Previous to doing so, Beverly also modeled and was also one of the most, and it still continues to be one of the most sought-out DJs in the entertainment industry, and you're also the first female heavy hitter, right? The Black Girl Rock Awards has received an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Variety Series or Special, and Ebony Magazine has listed Beverly among their Power 100 list from 2008 to 2012. Essence Magazine has also honored her and their 40 fierce and fabulous women who are changing the world. Next to her, we have B-Girl Rockefeller. NYC born and bred, Anna Rockefeller Garcia began her career dancing on the streets with the NYC Float Committee, the Breeze Team, and the Transformers. After performing background dance for singers featured in music videos, she co-founded Full Circle Productions, a nonprofit hip-hop dance-based organization. She has also directed the documentary All the Ladies Say, and has been featured in the photography book We Be Girls. And coming to the side, we have Nuala Cabral, who was the director of the film clip that we just saw in the movie. Nuala is an educator, activist, and award-winning filmmaker who has taught media production and media literacy in high schools, colleges, and community centers. While earning a master's degree in media studies and production from Temple University in 2010, Nuala co-founded Fan Mail, which stands for Fostering Activism and Alternatives Now, a media literacy activist project formed by women of color. Nuala is a founding member of the Black Feminist Working Group and also a board member for Stop Street Harassment. Next, we have Piper Carter, who is doing awesome work in Detroit right now. Piper is a freelance fashion photographer. She was featured on Tyra Banks' The Shot and came out as one of the final 7 contestants. She has been featured, her work has been featured in magazines such as OK Magazine, TV Guide, and US Weekly. She has shot several editorials and ad campaigns. She graduated from FIT in 2007 with her BFA in photography and digital media. In May 2010, Piper became co-owner of the 5E Gallery in Detroit, Michigan. She is a member of the Digital Justice Coalition and co-founder of the foundation dedicated to celebrating women in hip-hop. Piper also recently became co-chair of Bravo Bravo. Last and most certainly not least, we have Martha Diaz, organizer of tonight and also moderator of the panel. Martha is an award-winning community organizer, media producer, archivist, curator, social entrepreneur, and an adjunct professor at New York University. For 10 years, Diaz has served as chair and executive director of the Hip Hop Association and produced the H2O International Film Festival. In 2010, Diaz founded the Hip Hop Education Center at NYU. And most recently, in 2012, Diaz became the first hip-hop scholar in residence right here at the Schomburg.
Thank you. Hello, hello. Thank you, Autumn Marie, for that great introduction, and thank you all, my esteemed panelists, for joining us today at Schomburg. As you been witnessing, the program tonight is all about change, all about exercising our power to create change. And the reason why these sisters are here today is because since 2008, when I started the Fresh Bowl So Deaf project, like over a dozen groups of women have started to create these campaigns and new platforms to talk about the issues, to resist the issues, and to respond to it. And so I would like to begin by asking all of the panelists to talk about this, how you started your movements. And I have questions from the Breaking Silence participants. So I'm going to ask you to please answer this question from Kelly, 12 years old, from Brooklyn. She asked, when and why did you fall in love with hip hop, and what inspires you?
Good evening, everyone. I was sitting here just thinking about my own kind of hip hop narrative and realizing that for me, hip hop has always been about the women. I was never overly especially moved by the men. So my earliest memory of a serious head nod to a hip hop song, oddly enough, was 1988 JJ Fad Supersonic. I'm riding in the car with my cousin. I'm like 7 years old. And I was like, what is this? This is great. And then my first ever concert, the first concert I ever went to, MC Lyte was the headliner. And I was like 11 years old. So for me, coming of age, the soundtrack to my coming of age was growing up in the decade of the female MC. So listening to Lyte and Queen Latifah and The Brat and Lauryn Hill, all of those women, particularly in the 1990s when I was a young woman coming of age, were really the soundtrack for me. In part because my mama wouldn't let me listen to the dudes because they had the parental explicit advisories on their albums. So if you fast forward many years later, it is women in hip hop who gave me a sense that women could do anything, who also showed me the value of having social critique. So I remember when Queen Latifah released UNITY and what that song meant and the kind of critique, but also the kind of moxie, right? So, she was like, mess with me if you want to and we'll have a problem. And I really jibe with that. It really speaks to my spirit in all kinds of ways. And so the other thing that happened for me is that I'm from the South. I'm from Louisiana, and I grew up on Dirty South rap at the same time, and on crunk music. And so when I became a grad student, it was this conflict about many of the things the women were saying in the film, that on the one hand, I knew that the lyrics weren't always the most empowering, but I loved the music. It was the thing that made me move. And when people were being racist and doing terrible stuff, the way that you went and worked that stuff out in your body was you went to the club, you danced, you partied, right? You kicked it with your friends over, and it's a crunk beat, right? I love Lauren, but some mellow stuff is not gonna quite do it, It was like, no, So for me, what we decided was that we should really think about that space of contradiction as being a mode of creativity. So we created the Crunk Feminist Collective as a way to meld our investment in women of color being empowered and having a critique about the world and how to make it better, which is what we call feminism, but also actively and boldly claiming our cultural roots and aesthetics. And so for us in that moment, living in Atlanta, it was crunk, and thinking about the fact that hip hop can be whatever we make it. And so when we said get crunk, it meant resist. It meant make noise, but it meant make noise for change. It meant, rocking the house and making the kind of active noise where people had to listen and pay attention to the things that we were saying. And so now we have a blog where we write and talk about social issues of the day, but without speaking down our noses at people or looking down our noses at people, but really saying we can love hip hop, we can sometimes hate hip hop, but we always recognize that the movement is about the people and we will never throw them away, and we want to do that and remain critical at the same time.
Hi, everyone. I grew up, my mother was always making sure that we had strong music knowledge in our household. So I always had a great love of music. And she played everything from Curtis Blow to Hugh Masekela to Aretha Franklin to Betty Wright. And so I've always had this love for music. And I think the first hip-hop song that really inspired me and made me stop was hearing Grandmaster Flash, The Message. I kept listening to it over and over and just thinking about, like, this is real life for a lot of people. And it stuck with me. And perhaps it made me more conscious, along with my Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and everything else that my mother was playing for me. But perhaps it had a lot to do with how I looked at the world. I think my whole just music knowledge has a lot to do with the way I see things. So when it was kind of natural for me to become a DJ because I love music. I collected music like a DJ. Before I even thought about being a DJ, I was just collect records. It was just a hobby of mine. And when I became a DJ, I didn't really expect it to become a career. I really just thought I was going to do this as I was modeling and acting at the time. This was in 2000. And I really thought that this was just going to be a little hobby that I did when I moved to LA. And I started spinning. And immediately I got like this great response, and part of the reason that I was able to have such an impact was because I knew music so well, and I was able to weave music genres together and create stories. And I remember one of my first parties, or maybe second or third time I was spinning, it was DJ Enough's birthday from Hot 97, so there was a lot of the industry there. And so Enough was paying attention to me. I think Jay-Z was there, Angie Martinez. So all these people were there, and they're like, who is the DJ? Because you couldn't see me. And they would come up, and everybody would be like, oh, you got to go see the DJ, and it's a girl. And so it became this big thing. And my career just continued to climb. And so I felt the responsibility of, one, being a great artist, because I was getting all this attention. I knew I was a female, and I knew I needed to represent women well in this place, because a lot of times people would automatically think that as a woman, you were getting a free pass. As a model, they thought I was getting a free pass, so I had to make sure that people understood I was not the model DJ. I was the DJ. But, you know, as you listen to a lot of the content, especially, you know, when I started in 2000, as women, we all would have conversations all the time, like, just like your film, like, this is crazy. You hear a lot of the content, and you're like, this is nuts. And so you'd see people stand up and try to say something about it, and immediately they would get shut down. Oh, she's mad because she couldn't be the model in the video. She's mad because she don't know hip hop. It was always some kind of response to whatever woman stood up and said something about what was happening. And when I started Black Girls Rock, as some people know, it was really an idea that I had for a t-shirt, but immediately I recognized that it was bigger than that. And I recognized that I needed to use this as a tool to help empower our women and kind of send another message to our girls, because there was only one message being sent through our music and through the thing that we are listening to and watching and paying attention to the most. This is our culture, you know what I mean? So I'm like, a lot of black girls are ingesting this at very early ages, and they're being told, you know, that this is who they are, and this is all they are, and this is all that matters. And so I felt it was dangerous. I felt it was disturbing. I certainly saw that the last thing that NYOL said in your film, that everybody's responsible. Everybody has a part to play in changing it. And so I was like, I'm going to do my part and change this by creating Black Girls Rock, not just as a t-shirt, but also I'm going to start a mentoring program. I got some of my mentees right there. Say hi, y'all. But not only as a mentoring program, but we also need an award show. We need to show these girls what role models really look like. We need to show these girls what empowered women really look like. And that's pretty much how I started. And when I started it, and I never looked back. I was talking to Piper earlier, and she remembers when in the beginning, when I couldn't get nobody to support me, I went in the industry. I went to a lot of people in the industry, even women, and they were kind of shunning the idea, because it's like, you don't speak up about this. You don't say anything about this. And so I just kept going. I didn't care who, I was kind of blackballed. You know, I started to see my jobs dwindle. I took all my own money and I made this happen, but I knew it was necessary and I knew that it had to happen and I knew that it would have the impact that it is having today, and I see it in the letters that we get from girls from all over, not just from the United States, but from all over the world, show me that this was something that was necessary and needed, and I'm just really happy that it's making some sort of impact in the messages that our girls are receiving. However, even in this time period, as you said, this is 10 years later from your film, and the messages are now not just coming from the men, they're coming from our women. Our women are saying a lot of the same things, feeling like they have to be in this boys' club and act like, I don't want to say act like men, because all men don't act like that, but they have to degrade other women in order to become successful, and a lot of women are successful doing this, and I think it's important that we're all paying attention to the messages and where they're coming from, even if it's your favorite artist.
We have a clip of your program, so we're going to see it now.
I started Black Girls Rock as a reaction to the very limited images of women of color in media. The mission of Black Girls Rock is empowerment. We're transforming lives one girl at a time through dedicated mentorship. They're learning self-worth, integrity, and leadership. Black Girls Rock is committed to the healthy development of girls. Help make a difference in a young girl's life. Black Girls Rock, proud to be positive role models. Visit our website at blackgirlsrock.org.
I love when they show my mentees. Melinda, you see yourself in it?
So to answer your question, Rapper's Delight, right? It was the first record my brother brought home. He's 10 years older than me, and he brought that home, you know, and I was little, very little, and I was always upstairs washing dishes, doing my homework. I was not that, you know, girl that was outside. My mother was always like, you gotta be upstairs, make sure you get your grades right. Rapper's Delight changed my life. I learned it from the top to, from the front to the back, all the lyrics, so I could go back, you know, the cafeteria at lunchtime the next day and be like the M-A-S, the T-E-R, the G with the double E, right? Because that's what everybody was doing, right? And to add to that, you know, then we were like in the staircases kicking our own rhymes because I'm little Anna and I always get down, and right? And so for me, hip-hop didn't really have this split, you know, because Funky 4 Plus One More had a female sequence, female, Mercedes Ladies, right? And all this stuff was, I was listening to it. I'm from right around here, Taft Projects on 112th, right? And so hip-hop didn't have this like split to me. It wasn't until later that I started to feel that. And I didn't know, again, I didn't know what was I supposed to do there. And it really hit me when I went to a club and I jumped in a circle, you know, I had a fake ID. I was 16. Shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? Jumped in the circle, started doing my moves, and somebody grabbed me and started humping me. And I was like, whoa, like in my face, like I can't overpower this dude. What's going on? Right? What do I do? And I just had to let him finish what he was doing and go back to the side of the circle and just like, you know, you're shaking and you're kind of looking around like, is this going to happen to every girl? Like, what happens? You know, like, teach me. It's my first time in a club, you know. But I did see that any other girl who jumped in, yeah, that's what was waiting for you. Wow. And so, you know, I got my moves, right? Around the way, people know that's that girl, right? But in the club, don't nobody know me. And, right, I'm just meat. And so it bothered me. And it wasn't until I started learning floor moves that I said, oh, so if I'm whipping a windmill or doing some footwork or something, no one's going to touch me because they will get kicked in the neck, right? And I'm so serious. This was my weapon. This was my weapon. I want to be in the circle. I don't want nobody to touch me, so watch out, right? And so that's how I became a B-girl. Now, I had some little floor moves, but after I learned how to break, that's it. I had my weapon, I had my shield, and I had my voice. So now what happens here is that, you know, a couple of years later, I try to break into the business, but don't nobody want to see or hear a B-girl. When it says breakdance audition and I show up, they're like, oh, no, we meant guys. And I was like, well, see me first. See me first, and then you can decide, because we're here, right? We're here. And so that was when the dilemma and the politics started to enter into my world. Aside from that, you know, I could jump in, do the Daisy Dukes, do the Running Man, the Mike Tyson. I could do all those moves, which today would translate to the jerk or flexing or whatever the dances of this time. But again, you go into the circle with that and you're a girl, you just might get grabbed up and humped. And it might be 2 people at a time, right? So for me, it was that I had to become a warrior. So dancing was no longer just this fun thing that I was doing, and hip hop is great. Now I had to be at war and know how to respond and enjoy the combat. So that's where hip hop then shifted for me, and as I started to get more notoriety and get hired to go places and teach and perform, and I was like, I gotta do something else. And so that's when I made this film, All the Ladies Say, because I felt like it wasn't just happening to me. And some of these females don't have breakdance. So what are they doing? How do they find their place right next to the guys? Not behind them and as a background dancer, but right next to them when it comes to dance and hip hop. And that's one of the reasons why I try to do this All the Ladies Say film. I still have some legal things to, because I didn't go to school for film. I didn't really go to school, really. Really. But I went to the life skill, like, the Life Academy, right? Okay? But, and in my company, Full Circle Productions, which me and my husband co-founded, we try to mentor guys and girls to understand their place and their natural voice and to really be like their brother and sister's keeper, because it is my responsibility. And the times that I have been on the radio or I have hosted an internet show, now I don't know if you guys remember Akinelli when he came out with that song, Put It In Your Mouth. I had a protest. And people were, like you said, looking at me like, girl, we got to play this song. It's on the top 40. And I was like, not while I'm here. You can play it at the next program, but not while I'm here. So while I'm here with the headphones and the mic, I will pull the needle off your record, because there's no way that can be playing and I can be in the same space. It's just not, I can't do it. And so it's hard. It's hard when you start to, draw your line in the sand, but we got to grow up. Like, I'm not 8 years old anymore. Everything isn't all sweet. There is a lot of negativity out here, and we have to make sure that our young people coming up know how to detect it and say, no, I don't want to do that, and I don't need to listen to that. And so in the breakdance world, we don't listen to rap as much. If you notice, breakers, we don't dance to much of anything that has lyrics. We're dancing to the breaks, the drums, the horn, the piano. Occasionally there's some lyrics, right? Jimmy Castor, rest in peace. James Brown, rest in peace. But we are getting down. And, there's politics in there too. Let's not be nostalgic. I mean, even when you think about Rapper's Delight, right? If your girl start acting up, then you take her friend, right? So this has been here. Like, it's not like they said in the movie, like, this is not just now hip-hop birthed this thing. It's been here, but we have to know how to navigate it and counter it and, really highlight people like these ladies and our brothers who are allies in this game who do it right.
We also have a clip of your All the Ladies Say.
Be girl. That's it. So running through our veins. We don't crash when we dance. We got style, rocking it from the Hudson to the Nile.
Underground.
Use creativity as our weapon. These moves wouldn't be here without the rhythm. To the females, the power is in your soul. Come rock with us. alltheladiessay.com. I always get emotional watching them girls, man, because I'm like, oh, man. Because I can remember the days, I'm tearing, but I remember the days when it was just one of us or two of us. And it was like, I'll go if you go. You going? Tie your hair back and you just go. And then you just hope. You just hope that the guy won't be like, that shit was whack. You know, but anyway, these are tears of joy. Martha's crying because she helped us get grants to make this happen, so that's why she's crying too.
Okay, so I think the first hip-hop song that I was really excited about when I was a kid was Supersonic, definitely, hands down. And that's because my older cousin made me a mixtape, cassette tape of hip-hop and R&B. And that was my introduction. And then Salt and Pepper, I think was, like, Let's Talk About Sex, I think was one of the first songs I knew, like, all the words to. Yeah, so those definitely, that was kind of my beginning. I didn't really start to get critical about hip-hop until I was in college and, you know, having those mixed feelings when you're actually listening to the lyrics. And I think making the film opened my eyes to what I know today as media literacy. So this idea of analyzing media, thinking critically about media, evaluating it, and then creating it, ultimately creating media. And I think what's exciting for me and what's important, I think, for those of us, especially like with fan mail, who are interested in critiquing media, is to remember that it's also equally important to create and promote the alternatives that we want to see. And so that's why I'm really excited about this event, because it's really bringing together those of us who are resisting and challenging these messages, but also creating and promoting these messages and saying, we need these other alternatives. They exist already. How can we get them out there more? And I think, you know, a lot of, in terms of thinking about like this idea of collective responsibility, right? That there are all of these things we need to do. We need to look at the corporations, because this is not just about individual artists. And I think it's easier to focus on those individual artists who anger us with their misogynistic lyrics and lose sight of the fact that these artists were chosen by somebody. They were given that platform by powerful corporate execs who do not have the best interests of the black and brown communities. Like that clearly is not their interest. And so how are we as a community going to cultivate and support and create a world where we can see the diversity of who we are reflected in the media, and not just in hip-hop? I think something that comes up a lot is, you know, people are always like, you know, why are you focusing on hip-hop? You know, why are you blaming hip-hop? It's not about blaming hip-hop. We know that hip-hop is powerful and that powerful things have come from hip-hop. But I think for many of us who grew up with hip-hop, we want it to be better. And that's why we critique it. That's why we challenge it. That's why we're doing this, because we know it can be better. And so I think that's a lot of us are here tonight, yeah, because we believe in that. So, yeah.
So, man, okay, there's so many points of entry for me for hip hop. I would say, so I'm 41, so I'm about as old as hip hop. And so for me, yes, the Rapper's Delight, right? Because that's the family party, and you do Soul Train line in the living room, right? And then, but as far as like hip hop, like becoming my religion, I would say Finessence and Quiz, right? Soul Sister, because when I saw them in the MCM suits, and I was like, man, they fly. Like, they fly, and they are representing me, and they're talking about Soul Sisters, and it's like, yeah, that's what's up. Like, I'm feeling that. So I would say that was what I super connected to, as well as, you know, of course, MC Lyte And I really loved Antoinette. Like, you know, remember the Antoinette MC Light beefs, and they would go back and forth, and it was crazy. Like, the lyrics were like awesome, and it was like, you know, there were, I had to write these down because I was like, yeah, I remember Get the Cobwebs Out. And there were just these records that were really powerful, like KRS-One when he came back with Poetry. And that album was so powerful to me because I used to walk to the record store. Like, we didn't have internet back in the day. So so you had to find out about records through, like, word of mouth. Yeah. And so it was like, if, you know, and so the key was, this was the thing, like, if you was really, really, really up on hip-hop, like, nobody told you about it. Like, you told them, right? Like, it was really hip-hop. Like, if and then I kind of, like, became this source because I was, like, the only woman or female that was, like, going to the record store, and I went to, like, the little mom-and-pop record store, and it was an old lady, Miss White, rest in peace, and this woman was, like, 70 years old, and I grew up between Detroit and New York, so I would be in New York doing the B-girl thing over there on 77th Street in Columbus. And it was not cool back then because it was like gentrified neighborhood, and it was like, what are these kids doing out here? And it was, you know, from the Douglas Projects, my friends coming down, we pull out the cardboard out there, and it's like, get out of here, kids, you know. And this was before hip hop was accepted, right? Because hip hop was a fad, it was just this thing, and like, no offense, but all the Caucasian people were like, get these people out of here, get them out of our neighborhood, and the cops would come. And you'd be like, we're dancing. Like, we're just dancing, right? You remember those days. And everybody could rap, because even my grandmother would put a rap on you. And everybody was rapping, and, you know, and all your uncles could rap, and everybody was on the corner, like, doing a rap, and everybody had a name. And everybody was in class, like, drawing out their tag. Like, I still keep my tag. Like, so you wrote your tag everywhere and kept a marker in your back pocket. So wherever you were on the train or whatever, it's like, okay, get my tag on, you know. That was before scratching the, you know, that was before people used to scratch, before they changed the trains, right? That's the old trains when you could, like, draw everywhere. Okay, so I'm giving, this for the younger generation, just to let you guys know, like, this is what we used to do. And so all those things, like, I thought I was going to be a B-girl, I thought I was going to be an MC, I thought I was going to be a graffiti artist, and then I just realized, you know what, I love hip-hop. I was DJing family parties, and that was like with one turntable when you got to hurry up, then get the record going so that you get it going before the next one comes, before the fade goes out. Like, y'all don't know about that. Like the wooden record player. So anyway.
It was like a piece of furniture, right? The record player was like a piece of furniture.
Right. So I've been through, and then I just kind of came to this realization, like, I just really love this culture. And I became a fashion photographer, so I'm actually the first African-American woman to shoot for French Vogue and British Elle and all that. So within that space, you know, I was a part of the crew that was, you know, doing Honey Magazine, right? If you remember Honey Magazine, shout out to Kierna Mayo and Joycelyn for, like, making this beautiful magazine. And so, you know, that's where I met Michaela Angela Davis, right? Shout out to Michaela for, like, being a soldier and holding it down and, you know, just really being a soldier in that space of, like, holding images of women, number one, and women of color that love hip-hop and being proud about that and being unapologetic, right, about who you are as a person. And I, you know, there's so many struggles that we went through, just even being able to put out, you know, our own voice. So my mom got sick in 2008. She had a heart attack, and she went into a coma, and it was, like, really horrible. She's really a lot better now. Shout out to my mom. And I moved back to Detroit to take care of her, and it was, like, so crazy because that's the height of my career, and I'm doing really well. And I'm like, you know what? I got to take care of Mom's. Mom's where it's at. So I moved back to Detroit, and I stayed there. I made the decision to stay there and help her get better. And we created a space called 5E Gallery that celebrates all the 5 elements of hip-hop. And that what's important about the 5th element is the knowledge, the culture element, right? Like these films and the fashion and the magazines and these spaces where the message is brought to the people. So I gotta tell you, I'll tell you a real quick story. So it was like starting like 2008, like I moved to Detroit, and I had been in New York 20 years. So I'm like, oh man, I haven't been back to Detroit in like 20 years. And like, you know, when you grow up, like you don't necessarily really like know the people you went to high school with, especially from the hood. But anyway, that's another panel. But so it was like I didn't really have any like friends, right? Because I'm in New York with these intellectual, you know, black women on the scene, like doing this thing and this culture thing. And I moved to Detroit, and chicks are like, I'm a bitch, I'm a hoe, I'm a freak. And I went to Howard University, by the way. Shout out to my HU fam. And, you know, so I'm there with my friends that are like 40 plus, calling themselves a bitch diva. And I'm like, are you serious? But anyway, you know, just like, okay, whatever you want to do. But I'm still loving hip hop. And it's like, you still loving hip hop with your old ass? Like, you haven't gave it up? Like, we in the club crunking and we doing the 2 Chainz, whatever. No disrespect. But I'm like, no, like, yeah, I really still love hip hop. Like, for me, that voice is like my voice, you know, and I want to see that live. So I still haven't met her, but I met Lynn Q on Facebook. So I started having these conversations with Lynn Q and Bless Roxwell on Facebook.
Was in the house.
And it was like, you know, and I still, like, we still didn't meet. Like, I'm meeting you now. And so we would have these conversations on Facebook, like, the frustration, you know, hey, I'm not a bitch, I'm not a diva, you know, and it's like, and it was like this point, and I remember Bless sent me back, like, what are you gonna do about it? And I was like, oh shit, this is a battle. It's a challenge, like, you're challenging me? Hold up, I'm hip hop, that's my language. You know what I'm saying? And being inspired by Beverly Bond, and watching those initial conversations in Michaela's living room, right? Like, and that was like, what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? And then seeing where Black Girls Rock had catapulted to in such a short period of time showed the necessity. And it was like, wow, you know, like Detroit is one of the highest black populations. Like, this space needs to have some safe space for women that want to love hip-hop. And all elements of hip-hop need to be celebrated. Hip-hop is not just rap. It's not just rapping, right? It's the graffiti artists, the B-girls, the DJ culture of turntablism, right? Because it's not just select or play the music. You know, it's an art, okay? And the filmmakers, the poets, like all parts of this culture, and being inspired by Martha Diaz, right? So just looking at all these great women who were doing something about it, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do something about it. And Bless was like, yup, I'm about to do She's So Fresh, and, you know, Fridays in New York City. And I was like, man, we should do like She's So Fresh Detroit, blah, blah, what do you think? And she's like, you need to do your own thing, girl. I'm like, okay, you're right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you need your sisters, right, to help you like get it together. And I don't know if you guys know Invincible, MC from Detroit, part of Anomalies. Shout out to Anomalies, by the way. And went to Invincible, and we have been having these conversations about what to do. And so, you know, I went to, you know, some of the other women that I had met that quote unquote loved hip hop in Detroit, and we were thinking of a name, and it was like, go to the crew, and it's like, what do you guys think? Like, we need a great name, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why don't you call it Bitches Ain't Shit? And I was like, okay. Not a good way to find out how to get this name. And, okay, no consultation on Detroit. Got to establish, you know, note to self, establish hip-hop culture first. Okay. So then, you know, talking to Invincible, and she's like, you know, why don't you think about not having, if you want to be equality, right, then think of something where instead of having, like, the gender in it, right, like, that is equal. Man, I kept thinking, and, you know, I got to shout out Rakim, okay, because I kept really meditating on this, and I had to go to the source, you know, and I had to really listen to, like, you know, my heart and, like, things and I started thinking about the foundation. And I'm like, okay, women are the foundation of the universe. And we do all elements of hip hop, which is the foundation of hip hop. What are we establishing? We're establishing the foundation of our voice of who we are. I'm gonna call it the foundation. And so that's what it did, call it the foundation, and went back to the crew like, I'm gonna call it the foundation. They was like, that's a horrible name. Where's the chicks? There's no chicks in there, and there's no chicks to do hip hop. And I'm like, yep, just because y'all are feeling that angst, that's what we gotta call it. Because I was getting such a pushback from the men. I was getting pushback from the women. And as an artist, when you get that pushback and there's too much pushback, I was like, that's the right thing to do. That's exactly what we need to do. And that's what we did. So we started we actually started on Cinco de Mayo, right? And the reason I did it on Cinco de Mayo is because we have a secondary problem of elevated racism in the Midwest, and where we are is the vortex of culture where the Latino community it is basically separated from everyone else. And for me, it was very important that the Latino voice be a part of this whole conversation because people need to understand the Latino contribution to the formation of hip hop, right? And what that means and what hip hop is, that space of culture. So anyway, that's what we did. We were like, yeah, let's lift it up because the Mexican community is huge, right, in Detroit. So we were like, let's do it, Cinco de Mayo, let's go. And like 30 people came to the first one. We were like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? We got one beat girl, one MC, one DJ. That's and let's do it. And so now it's built up, and we've had, articles written about us in The Guardian in the UK, and people fly in to be like, what is this thing? And it's the only weekly hip-hop in the world dedicated to celebrating women in hip-hop. And it's been going since 2009, and this May is going to be our 4th year. And I got to just add, people keep saying, like, why don't you make it a monthly? Why you do it every week? Or why do you dedicate it to hip-hop? Or, why hip-hop? Just like you said. And it's because hip-hop is the language of global culture, right? And because our voices still need a space to be able to be cultivated, we still need to build up our craft. We need a safe space to build up who we are as artists, as professionals. And at the foundation, it's not like only women are allowed. It's a safe space where everyone comes. We let dudes rock on the mic. You can't do the misogyny, and women can't do misogyny, right? It's a safe space where everyone gets a chance to come and celebrate the feminine principle, the divine, the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much that. And I would definitely just like to add that Martha Diaz has been super instrumental in being supportive of this movement and just continuing conversation. B, I'm not gonna make you cry. You're gonna make me cry. But and really just being a person that is like, hey, this needs to have life. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the main part of what we as a people, beyond the sisterhood or whatever, you need support. You need people to help lift up what you're doing. Because you could keep going all day, and trust me, I still get pushback of people still like, that's them bitches rhyming about women's empowerment. F them, who cares? And they don't, it's people still don't really get what it's about. But being able to be here and share the space, especially with a Beverly Bond, and oh my goodness, I'm about to cry myself. Rockefeller, like, y'all don't even understand how crazy it is right now. What's up here right now? Y'all don't even understand, so just had to give honor and respect
Piper.
for that.
Thank you, Piper. I love you. I love you, sister. I love you, sister. Well, actually, what you were just saying about, hip-hop being a global movement, there is a global hip-hop movement that is linked to the struggle of African Americans and other marginalized people in the United States. My next question is there a transnational hip-hop feminist movement? And the question from our Breaking the Silence group, what's a positive message we can benefit from? This is from Sonia, 15, from New Brunswick. So, answer both.
What is a positive what?
Positive message we can benefit from.
I would definitely say that there's transnational hip-hop feminism, but I think, I don't know that everyone calls it hip-hop feminism, but, you know, for one thing, I mean, when you think about, for instance, the Cuban hip-hop scene, where sisters are really beasting in the Cuban hip-hop scene in particular, in Colombia. Also, a couple of years ago, I was in Germany, and there's a rapper named G Nice who has a magazine called An Attitude, which is a global magazine that just chronicles the work of women in hip-hop. It's awesome. You can search for it online and look at the issues. And she put together an exhibit at this museum in Frankfurt, just chronicling the work of women in hip-hop all over the globe, and of course as well in the U.S. So for me, I was there for something entirely different. I was there to talk about Ida B. Wells. You know, I always want to bring some historical, you know, women into the mix anytime we can. And so I was, you know, it was, you know, was remarkable to me to see the sort of global reach of hip-hop and to kind of be in this space where folks appreciated it, not just on U.S. shores, but, you know, where people are really using it to give voice to all manner of social movements. So, yes. So the answer to that question is yes. And I think the positive message to take away from hip-hop, one of the things that I've been thinking about as I've been sitting on the panel is that hip-hop is not just rap. And that if we only think about hip-hop culture in terms of what's happening in rap music, then you will have a narrative of decline, right? You will think that we are in this space that is irredeemable. But if you look at what's happening in dance, if you look at what's happening in poetry, if you look at Black Girls Rock, even if you look at literature, right? So one of the arguments that I make in my work as a scholar, as a person who teaches hip-hop in the academy, is that sisters are straight up taking over bookstore shelves, writing hip-hop narratives. Yes. And I recognize that people are like, but what about Toni Morrison? But it's like, but what about hip-hop, though, right? Yeah. So when we say that we want to hear the stories that women are telling, sometimes they can't get access to the mic because of the corporations, because of sexism, but women are telling their stories. They are creating publishing companies. They are putting other women on to tell their stories. So there's an amazing narrative that's happening there, too, that's about word, right? So if we stop thinking about rap music as the thing and think about that as the word element of the culture, right, then it looks a lot of different ways. It doesn't just look like rap. It looks like poetry. It looks like Jill Scott, hell, you know, who also I think, you know, we could think about neo-soul. So the music looks different and the literature looks different, and those are the kinds of things that I'm interested in exploring. So the positive message is girls can do anything. Right? That, you know, we take over, and if you try to push us out of one space, don't ever get it twisted, because just look around. We coming through a door, we're coming through a window, right. You know, we will come up out of this stage, whatever. We are here, we are not going anywhere. And for me, that's always the positive messages. So I'm never that discouraged by power, because I tend to know that powerful women will make space for themselves, and hip-hop is that narrative, in addition to all of the other things we could say about it. It is a narrative and a history of women unapologetically making space for themselves.
I'm going to just agree with everything that you just said. But I mean, yes, obviously there is the positive to take away. If you look at the women on the stage, our platforms were built on hip-hop. If I wasn't such a thorough DJ, I wouldn't have caught the respect of so many dudes. You know, and I'm not bragging on myself. What I'm saying is I was so well respected that by the time I started Black Girls Rock, I didn't get the kind of resistance that I could have gotten, the level of resistance that other women got, because it was like, but it's Bev. You know what I mean? But it's Bev, so I need to pay attention to this, and I need to pay attention to what she's saying. And, you know, that slowly, what I was saying slowly influenced men and what they were thinking about and what they were playing and how they were looking at women and how they were reacting and dealing with women in the industry. So I think that there's a lot to take away in addition to everything that you just said.
Yeah. No, I love Beverly. I even got to work at a Black Girls Rock camp one time, so I've got so much love and respect for her.
Can I say one other thing? I wanted to be like her. and I had everything, but I couldn't get like the
Baby
handstands, none of that stuff. But I could up rock.
Oh, put the music on. Put the music on. Let's go. I love to hear that. I love to hear that, especially like on days when my back is hurting or I got bruises. I'm like, somebody wanted to do this. But, okay, the question was...
Is there a global transnational
Yes, there is
hip-hop
a global.
feminism?
It's not, like she said, it's not called feminism. Look, I exist. I pay my bills. I succeed because women in Berlin, in France, in Japan, in Korea, in Italy fly me out there to do workshops, to perform. Yeah. So it's there, and they recognize the need because in those places, in those countries, there hasn't been a feminist movement. I mean, France maybe, you know, but some of these other places, you know, women are DJing, MCing, because hip-hop told them they could do that. But it's not because they're part of their culture society is uplifting women, no. So it does exist, and I'm blessed that people will recognize my talent and say, we need her to talk to these other girls, or, yeah, to be a part of this conference or this concert. So it exists. It also exists for the brothers, too. So I don't want to say it's just women. B-boys in particular and DJs fly each other out all the time to go compete, to teach. So there's that other grid, that other web that exists that hip-hop has provided for us underground artists. So it's there. And the positive message, like she said, you know, you work hard, you stay creative, you get props. It's like the simplest thing hip-hop could have given us was that lesson. You get your skills together, someone's gonna call you. Someone's gonna pay you. Someone's gonna get you where you need to be. So you make the road. And so there's nothing more positive than that. I mean, I didn't get the degree, but I worked so hard at it. Like she said, like she worked so hard that by the time she had a clue, people were like, yes. Yes, what do you need? I made a film. I don't know how to edit, but somebody came up and was like, I know Final Cut Pro. I'll help you make this film. And voila, the film is done. So hip-hop, just from its birth, was emerging and telling you, build your character, create your new identity. If you don't like what they're pushing on you, create something new and be unique. And you have to be unique. Look at you. When you look in the mirror, you're just already, you're born unique. So hip-hop was just saying, you know, put a whistle in your face, scream it out, and say, I am somebody, somebody. All right? I'm sorry. I always go backwards. I should go forward. It was the joke.
I'll co-sign. I'll just quickly add that this term hip-hop feminist, I believe it was coined by Joan Morgan, and she's an excellent writer. And her book is called When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost. So if you're interested in learning about this concept of hip-hop feminism, it deals with a lot of the issues that we've been talking about. It's really powerful, and it's still relevant today. Check it out, Joan Morgan. A positive message from hip-hop, I think just the idea that everyone has a story to tell, and everyone has a voice, and that through hip-hop you can express yourself, and you can express yourself fiercely. Like, you can be fierce. Like, that's dope. Like, how many places, you know, that's I think especially for our young women and girls, that's something positive that we can take from hip-hop when we see it.
You stole my answer, Joan Morgan. Shout out to Joan Morgan.
Shout out to Joan Morgan, but she also exists in rap. I gotta be honest. Love her studies. Trisha Rose, another one. Love you. Can you come to the other elements, please? Whenever you're ready.
Okay, that's the battle.
DJing, graffiti, you know, there's all, like she said, all these other stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah, and so...
Love her, though.
Love her, too. So, there's Dream Hampton, who's really instrumental. Dream's from Detroit. She's, like, you know, always questioning and always helping us think about things, right? Challenging. So, yeah, and, you know, like, that's my homie, you know? We challenge each other. And that's how we grow. Raquel Cepeda, you know, and she has a new book, I think, right? Her new book is out. And, you know, just, I think that Las Crudas, right? We're talking about Cuba. I think that, yeah, like, so globally, I mean, and then feminism, that's really interesting, right? So, like, there's this running joke because we work with a lot of academics, and they're always calling me a feminist. And I'm always like, I'm not a feminist, you know, like, I'm a womanist. And so, but it doesn't matter, you know, like, it's inside joke, all love. But, yeah, so that's interesting, too, right? Like, you know, what's a feminist, or, you know, what does that mean? And I think that, just like you're talking about with regard to how do we define ourselves, right? So if I'm a B girl, right, what does that mean? Because I remember back in the day, B girl meant you loved hip hop, right? It meant you dance, right? It meant because now B girl is very specific. Like, you got to be specific when you talk about B girl nowadays, right? We don't want to say breakdance or whatever, right? So I know. So it's just these
breakdance. I don't mind.
Say break
I don't mind.
So it's just these definitions that are interesting, right? These words that we use to describe ourselves. And what is feminism, right? What is womanism? What is femininity, right? Because when you step into different spaces, like, that's going to be challenged, right? Like, so I think that just being able to have these kinds of conversations about gender and defining who you are as a person and defining who you are as an artist, as an individual, and what does that mean, and what are you contributing? I think that that's kind of like the larger conversation, right? Because even something like feminism will have us like going at it, like, I'm not feminist, I'm a this, I'm a that, you know. So just wanted to kind of lift that up. And also, what's the second part?
What can we benefit from hip hop?
Oh man, what can we benefit from hip hop? I mean, hip hop is life, at least to me, right? So my whole life has revolved around hip hop in terms of listening to the music, being influenced by various MCs, being influenced by the culture, by the films that we see, by the images that we see, and then as an adult wanting to have an impact on that image for the next generation, right? And wanting to have an impact on those definitions and wanting to have an impact in the personal lives of young women that I come into contact with. And for me, the space that I'm in, hip-hop is a global language, right? This is what people speak. Black people, white people, right? Like, how many people come up to you like, what's up, my nigga? And it's like, oh, snap, like, you're Japanese. And on the train, right? Like that's normal now, right? When like all cultures, like, that's youth culture. Hip hop is youth culture, right? Different races, like, that's my nigga, that's my nigga, this my nigga, and you'll turn around and it'd be like all these little white kids that go to prep school, right? And so, I mean, I'm not like justifying that. I'm just saying that that's the space, that's the reality of what we live in, right? Like, this is the reality of, you know, of who we are as a people. This is where hip-hop has evolved too. So I think the positive points to take away from hip-hop is very self-defining, at least in its origin, right? So, and that is the problem that the corporations really had with it, is that these quote-unquote marginalized people took control of themselves and then used the crap to create something amazing, right? So, Kool Herc, I call him a technologist, right? Redefining, you know, how we take technology, not having music classes, becoming a DJ, becoming a producer, becoming a poet, becoming, you know, just these great people. So the positive thing to take from hip-hop is the self-reliance and the self-sufficiency, and that's always going to continue in hip-hop.
Well, unfortunately, time has run out. And yes, we can go on and on and on talking about so many issues, but we have one more performance. And so please give a big applause to our wonderful, wonderful panelists. Yes, now, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna do some more of this. Okay, so let me come over here. Lord, this is so inspiring. I feel I'm going through all these emotions. Okay, so let me see where we are. Okay, So we have one more final performance. She is a singer, songwriter, music producer, and social entrepreneur. Originally from Memphis, Tennessee, she began using her babysitting money to finance her own project recording studio. While an undergraduate student at Barnard College of Columbia University, she began making beats for aspiring artists and establishing herself as an up-and-coming producer/engineer. She now owns and operates Eudora House, an independent boutique music production and publishing company. Please give it up to Ebony Smith.
Much, Martha. You make it sound like I'm doing something. I'm busy, according to you. Everybody, I've had such a fabulous time this evening. I've been so inspired by these women and everyone in the room. Can you guys give yourself a hand one more time? I want to ask everybody in the room, do you know or have you heard of any female producers, music producers, and if you have, yell their names out. Prita Honey Dark, Alicia Keys, who else? Missy Elliott, who else? And it's starting to get real quiet, is what's happening right now. I've been producing music for a couple years now. Well, actually, about close to a decade now, actually. And yes, time flies. And I have, over the time, met so many amazing women producers, Prita Honey Dark, like she was mentioned, so many amazing women producers, and it just kind of, it hurts my heart a little bit that they're not more visible, and we're not more visible. I have, trying to pursue my own career in the music business as a producer, come across a number of barriers. And so, for me, I've always been the proactive type. So instead of complaining about the industry and these elusive corporations that nobody seems to know the name of, or the Illuminati and all these other people, I would rather just focus on what can I do? If I know 10 strong women producers, then we need to get together like Martha's doing tonight, like Rockefeller's doing tonight, Beverly Bond is doing tonight, and celebrate ourselves. If we spend time waiting for the industry, once again, very nondescript industry, to support us, then we'll never get anywhere. So I founded in 2007 an organization, or a movement rather, called Gender Amplified. And basically our mission is to support women in music technology, give them resources, and to identify and help support the next generation of girls in music production. We want them to start early. I know guys as young as 7 and 8 years old starting with music production, and I got started at 21. So we need to start them earlier so that we can start creating the music that we want to hear. If you have a problem with hip-hop, then we need to get more girls in the studio. We need to get more girls in the studio teaching some of these guys how to make beats, teaching some of these other girls how to make beats, so that we have better-sounding music, so we are producing better-sounding tracks. So right now, in collaboration with the Barnard Center for Research on Women, now our new partner, the Hip Hop Education Center, thanks to Martha Diaz once again, we are putting on a music festival in the fall of 2013 called the Gender Amplified Music Festival. And basically, it's going to be a big party at Barnard College, a bunch of women. We're all going to come together. We're going to celebrate women in music production. We're going to have workshops. We're going to have a panel similar to this one. And we're going to have a number of great performances. And I hope you all will come out. But right now, I'm going to put up our really quick commercial that I edited all last night. So excuse me if I'm a little like, all last night I edited, but check it out, and I hope you'll be a part of the movement. Thanks.
Gender Amplified is a movement that celebrates women in music technology and helps to foster the next generation of women.
I really, for a long time, thought that I was the only woman. I really thought I was the only woman in the world making tracks.
There are a lot of female producers out there musically in all genres, but you don't really hear a lot.
Women were always pushed into like the forefront, you know, as like the singers or songwriters, but a lot of times not so much in the technical background.
I would like to learn how to,
do stuff like that. Like I said, I've never met one female engineer, producer, none of that. Like, none of it. Never heard of it. Never even heard of one person like, oh, she do that.
There is a concern on my part about the fact that there are not as many women who are commercially relevant and who are publicly able to advocate for women in the field. The Gender Amplified Music Festival, which will take place on September 28th at Barnard College, is really about highlighting some awesome women who've done great work in music production. My original question was, where are the women? And I've since answered that, which is, the answer to that is the women are everywhere, and they're doing amazing work, and they're working on some great records in all over the world in various genres. So the women are there. Now my next concern is, how do we get them all together in one space?
It's like, how do we get into, how do we penetrate this like male-dominated market? Well, forget about that. Just like make your own, do your own thing, and let's all help each other, all the women and the men who are totally in support of helping women.
More female producers will feel confident and like, you know what, she did it, then I could do it.
The Gender Amplified, it brings forth the opportunity of exposure to women who may not be aware, to young women to have something to model to or look up to, and to those who aren't women, it exposes them to women within the field.
I feel like it's important to support, just to give girls an opportunity that they never may have had before.
A lot of reasons why a lot of young women aren't into this is because they have no idea it exists.
This project will change the lives of some young girls. There will be girls whose lives will be different because they will come to this music festival, they will get involved, and they will become music producers. I am certain of that.
This is an opportunity for everybody to support independent art, to support the next generation of people who are going to be your composers, who are going to be on your radio. We're trying to create a new platform for new listeners, for new concert goers, for new producers, DJs, artists. Like, this is what it's about, but we collectively have to fund it because we can't depend on the traditional institutions to do it for us. Traditional radio, traditional labels. We have to depend on ourselves. A new era in music is going to start with people like you. How y'all doing? So I have like a different identity all of a sudden. And I'm kind of nervous. I got nerves like in one leg though. You ever been shaking like in one leg? Just like one? I sing to a little bit, and I have a song that I want to share with you guys. Is that all right? This song is called Trains. It's off my second actually project. Can I get some hand claps? This is acoustic, it's no track, so I need some sort of rhythm section. I wake up, man. I wake up, man, I need some coffee. Next stop in the studio, so man, I'm exhausted. I head to my 9 to 5, I gotta go to work again. Next morning, catching trains here and there to make amends. I rush to the train, catch my fare. Train goes by, it blows my hair. Next day, the same old thing. Sometimes I wonder why I care. I'm hustling. My friends are like, girl, where you been? If you wanna catch me, come down to the station, I'll be hollering. Don't let the trains go before I'm on board. Next stop is Dreamland, so stand clear of the closing doors. This train is taking me to my destiny. Right now, I'm chasing dreams around on the train. Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you. Oh, Lord.
Turn it down.
It's electrifying.
It's electric.
Please give Ebony Smith love. Thank you all for coming. Please come back to the Schomburg. Please visit us again. There are so many great events and programs here. We have 2 great exhibitions going on. We have the African Elites in India and Visualizing Emancipation. We're always looking for volunteers and new members to join our Schomburg Society. If you have any questions, we have staff on site that can answer them and inform you about the other events. So thank you again and have a great night. Please come back. Peace.